Last year, Matthew Sluka became an early season college football darling at UNLV. He led the Rebels to a 3-0 record and a gritty win over Kansas on the road on a Friday night, making him a national name at the time. Then, he would decide to ruin his career by choosing to opt out of the remainder of the season. Without Sluka, UNLV continued to win, going 11-3 last year, and the public forgot about what Sluka had done earlier in the season. No Power 4 schools would come calling, and Sluka would go on to be named the backup quarterback at James Madison. On Friday night, the Dukes would turn to Sluka late in the game to lead them to an upset win over Louisville, bringing his name back into the media even though James Madison would eventually lose. This is a story of the player who ruined his career over NIL money. But before we get into this, if you enjoy college football content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know which player I should talk about next in the comment section below. Matthew Sluka is originally from Locust Valley, New York, and attended Kellenberg Memorial High School. While at Kellenberg, Sluka was an elite lacrosse player and played basketball and football. For lacrosse, Sluka earned offers from the best of the best in the likes of Johns Hopkins, Denver, North Carolina, Penn State, and Loyola, Maryland. While he had big opportunities when it came to lacrosse, football was his true love. As a sophomore, he would lead the Firebirds to the CHSFL Junior Varsity Championship, become the school's starting quarterback as a junior, taking over a program that was coming off a 1-8 season. He helped lead them to an 11-0 record and the Catholic High School Football League AA title, throwing for 984 yards and 10 touchdowns, while also rushing for 1,619 yards and 24 touchdowns on the ground, being named Class A Second Team All-State. As a senior, the Firebirds would once go undefeated, as Sluka threw for 1,203 yards and 14 touchdowns, while also rushing for 1,334 yards and 22 touchdowns on the ground, being named Class A First Team All-State. Coming out of high school, Sluka was a zero-star recruit with no Division I offers for football. Although he had the option to play lacrosse, he would bet on himself, choosing to roll at Petty School in Hightstown, New Jersey. He would lead Petty to an 8-0 record and the Mid-Atlantic Prep League title, and finish his prep career accounting for 101 total touchdowns. He would enroll at Holy Cross and would spend his first semester back home in New York due to COVID. Holy Cross would play a shortened 2021 spring season, and Sluka would come off the bench to help the Crusaders win against Fordham. He would start the final 2 games of the season, including the FCS playoffs, where they would fall to South Dakota State. As a sophomore, Sluka led the Crusaders to a 10-3 record, throwing for 1,495 yards, 11 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, while also rushing for 868 yards and 14 touchdowns on the ground, being named Second Team All-Patriot. During his junior season, Holy Cross would go 12-1 as they would upset Buffalo 37-31, made it to the quarterfinals of the FCS playoffs, losing to eventual national champions South Dakota State. Sluka finished the year throwing for 2,489 yards, 26 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, while also rushing for 1,234 yards and 11 touchdowns on the ground, which was the most among FCS quarterbacks, as he finished as a finalist for the Walter Payton Award. During his senior season, he would lead Holy Cross to a 5-4 record, throwing for 1,723 yards, 20 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, while also rushing for 1,243 yards and 9 touchdowns on the ground, finishing as a Walter Payton Award finalist once again, and third-team FCS All-American. Against Lafayette, he rushed for a Division I record for a quarterback with 330 yards. Sluka spoke on the team saying, "We had such a great team. I never saw a team chemistry like we had over the 4 years. Every single guy. Coach Chesney did a great job recruiting great men and great football players. It was perfect timing. We had so many great moments. What we had was really special." Sluka guided the Crusaders to 4 Patriot League titles and 3 FCS playoff appearances. His 3,583 rushing yards and 38 rushing touchdowns ranked second in Holy Cross history. He threw for 5,916 yards, which is 6th all-time at Holy Cross, and 59 touchdowns, which is 5th all-time for Holy Cross. Following the season with an extra year of eligibility due to COVID, Sluka would decide to transfer up to the FBS level, where he would end up committing to UNLV, explaining, "During my recruiting process, most teams wanted me there immediately, but getting the Holy Cross degree is what I came here for originally. That was something meaningful to me." UNLV was really okay with that. They said, "That's a great decision. Graduate and come play after. We can work around that." UNLV checked all the boxes, so it made it a good fit. They seemed excited to have me there. There's definitely going to be competition. but I think with the experience I've had being here for 4 years and doing pretty well over my 4 years, I feel like I'll be able to be in a good spot. I think the offense fits me well, so I think I'll be able to succeed and do what I do. That's the perspective I have coming into it, but there's always going to be competition. Every year there was competition in the room at Holy Cross. Joe Pesaneski, Sluka's backup and 2024 projected starter, always made me better, which I appreciated. He spent his spring break meeting his new UNLV teammates, but finished his degree at Holy Cross. As for NIL money at UNLV, Sluka said he was getting a little bit, enough to get him off his feet, but at the end of the day, that was not the biggest thing for him. Once Sluka arrived at UNLV, he would beat out Campbell transfer Haj Malik Williams for the starting quarterback job. Sluka would not blow the doors off his stats as a school starting quarterback, would instead play a really gritty brand of football and help the Rebels win games. In the season opener on the road against Houston, UNLV would win 27-7, while Sluka threw for 71 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception, whilst rushing for 59 yards, completing 46.2% of his passes. In Week 2 against Utah Tech, the Rebels would win 72-14, while Sluka completed 47.1% of his passes for 161 yards and 3 touchdowns, whilst rushing for 70 yards and a touchdown on the ground. His most impressive game would come against Kansas in Week 3 of the season on a Friday night. At the time, a lot of people were projecting Kansas to finish as a Big 12 title contender, and both were receiving votes in the AP poll. Kansas would enter the game as 11-point favorites, would close it as 9-point favorites. UNLV would shock the Jayhawks behind Sluka's 86 passing yards and a touchdown and 124 rushing yards as they would win 23-20. It was an ugly, gritty game that came down to the wire and saw Sluka complete only 38.9% of his passes. It was enough, and UNLV started the season 3-0 for the first time in 40 years, heading into their bye. Things seemed great as they prepared to host 3-1 Fresno State. Then drama would ensue. The Tuesday leading up to the game, Sluka would announce he was planning to redshirt the remainder of the season and would not be playing in any more games. Sluka's agent, Marcus Cromartie, told ESPN that Sluka was verbally promised at least $100,000 by an assistant coach for committing to the school that offseason, but has received only $3,000 in relocated stipend. Sluka's father, Bob, told The Athletic that 2 agents negotiated the money over the phone in February. They did not ask for anything extra during the team's hot start to the season. Bob Sluka told The Athletic, essentially they refused. Coach Barry Odom refused to give us the money. We tried everything. We take payments, anything, and just kept deferring it, and to this day, we do not know why. Longtime UNLV donor, Bill Polas, told The Athletic on Wednesday night there was no agreement with Sluka of any kind past the $3,000 relocation fee, which was paid out after Sluka made it a charity appearance. Paulos explained, if there is a monetary agreement, it comes directly to me. If there's a kid getting $100,000, I'll know about it. 100%. Sluka would get a new agent who was not registered in the state of Nevada. When the agent reached out to the school was unable to negotiate with him due to his lack of registration. The day after Sluka decided to redshirt, UNLV said Sluka's agent made financial demands to the school and its NIL collective in order to continue playing. They said in a statement, UNLV Athletics interpreted these demands as violations of the NCAA pay-for-play rules, as well as Nevada state law. UNLV does not engage in such activities, nor does it respond to implied threats. UNLV has honored all previous agreed-upon scholarship for Matthew Sluka. UNLV's collective said they never made a formal NIL offer to Sluka as a recruit, nor did they finalize or agree to any offer aside from one community engagement event. The whole thing was a weird and shocking event as UNLV looked like a possible college football playoff team out of the Group of 5 at the time, and Sluka had no signs of being like this type of player leading up to it in his career. Sluka wrote in a statement, I committed to UNLV based on certain representations that were made to me which were not upheld after I enrolled. Despite discussions, it became clear that these commitments would not be fulfilled in the future. Wish my teammates the best of luck this season and hope for the continued success of the program. Without Sluka, UNLV would continue to win, finishing the year 11-3, and everyone sort of forgot about Matt. When the transfer portal opened, Sluka was not a hot name as he really only received MAC interest early on. Heading into the portal, Cooper Pegna said, game reminds me some of DJU and Brennan Armstrong. Will have a ceiling if he's unable to find more consistency in the passing game. Winnable player at the Power 4 level, needs to have the right environment and the resources for him to be successful week to week. Sluka started 2 games against FBS opponents, both against Big 12 foes. The Rebels averaged 287.5 yards and 25 points per game in his performance, while Williams led UNLV to 354 yards and 41 points against the 9-1 Syracuse team in his second start. Under Williams, the Rebels averaged 437.6 yards per game and 38 points per game. From a PR standpoint, Sluka was remembered as the guy who quit on his team mid-season over NIL money, something that was also not in writing. Sluka was rated as a 3-star transfer, who was the 21st best transfer quarterback. He would ultimately choose to commit to James Madison to reunite with former coach Bob Chesney, who was at Holy Cross from 2020 to 2023. Sluka spoke on reuniting with Chesney, saying he really wants to bring a winning culture into it. His energy every day never lacks. That was something that I wanted to develop, I want to work on. The guys love playing for him. I've never heard a player that didn't like playing for Coach Chesney. I think he does a great job. I think he gives you a good life and football balance and allows you to be a human. He also reunited with former quarterback coach, offense coordinator Dean Kennedy. Sluka would beat out Richmond transfer Camden Coleman for the backup quarterback job with the Dukes and would enter the season as Alonzo Barnett's backup. In the season opener against Weber State, Sluka would throw for 15 yards and a touchdown, rush for 30 yards and a touchdown on the ground. The Dukes lost to Louisville. He would throw for 35 yards and an interception, whilst rushing for 83 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Sluka would be given the opportunity but would struggle for James Madison. Quarterback rotation has fans concerned, as Barnett had one of his worst games of his career, yet James Madison was still in the game until the end. Matthew Sluka went from quarterback darling and possible college football playoff starting quarterback to backup at James Madison, all over a weird NIL dispute. Did he make the right move? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out one of my other videos YouTube thinks you will love right here. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.